Hello and welcome everyone to the Sky Coding. So a very good morning to everyone who is watching my video in the morning. So in today's video we will discuss the new topic of the Snowflake. This is a time travel. Okay, we will discuss all the features of the time travel. First of all, we will discuss about the theory part, and after that we will do the lab practical of the time travel feature in the Snowflake. Okay, this is a time travel which we can go to the past. Okay, but by this time travel we cannot go to the future. Okay, in the real life we you also have seen lots of movies where time travel scenario is shown. Okay, but in the real life time travel is not possible, but in Snowflake we can do the time travel to the past but not to the future. Okay, so we will discuss all those things about the time travel, and if you are new to my channel, then you can watch my full series of the Snowflake. Okay, where I have completed all the data loading from internal external stages, and also we have covered zero copy cloning architecture, and we have covered lots of concepts of the Snowflake. Okay, so before watching this video, let's please watch that zero copy cloning video, so that you can understand about the zero copy cloning. And here in the time travel video we will restore the historical data by using the zero copy cloning only. Okay, so you must be knowing about the zero copy cloning as well. Okay, so before watching time travel, please watch that zero copy cloning video. Okay, that how to clone. Okay, and all this. Okay, so let's get started time travel feature without wasting any time. So basically, what is a time travel? Time travel is, as name suggests, that we are just doing the time travel to the future or the past. So as I have told you earlier, in the Snowflake we can do the time travel to the past but not to the future. Okay, in future how it is possible? It is possible in the past only. Okay, so we will do the time travel in the past. Okay, so time travel, it is a definition written here. Snowflake time travel enables accessing the historical data. Okay, so let me tell you some of the in the layman's point of view, such as a time travel. Time travel is a feature available in the Snowflake by which we can query our historical data. Suppose that I have one table, and there in the table we have lots of important data. We have 10k records, and by mistake we have dropped that table. Then how can we get back data, that same data? And suppose that I have dropped that table 1 month ago. Then today I thought that that table was having very important data, and I want that data only. So by this doing the time travel, we can query that table, we can get that table back in our database. Okay, by doing the time travel. So this is basically the use of time travel. We use time travel for querying the historical data that has been changed or deleted. Okay, as it is written here, Snowflake time travel enables accessing of historical data, that is the data which has been changed or deleted at any point within a defined period. Okay, and it serves a powerful tool for performing the these tasks. Okay, time travel feature. Okay, so basically the overall is we can query the historical data which has been deleted or changed in that retention period. Okay, so let me tell you about the retention period and the failsafe. These are two important terms of the time travel: retention period and failsafe. Okay, so the retention period is a time period that specifies that how in which days you can recover your historical data. Okay, suppose that there is a one table. Okay, and the retention period of that table is 15 days. Okay, so by 15 days only you can recover your data. If you have dropped that table, by 15 days only you can recover your data from that table if the retention period of that table is just 15 days. Okay, and the data retention period specifies the number of days for which the historical data is preserved. Okay, as it is written here. Okay, and therefore time travel operations select, create, clone, undrop can be performed on their data. Okay, so retention period is just a time we specify to the table, database or schema, that in the how much time the data can be recovered. Okay, suppose that you have set any set retention period in days of any schema is 15 days. So after doing any of the drop and drop command, suppose that you have dropped any table in that schema, then within the 15 days you can undrop that table. If it is crossing the 15 days, suppose that you have dropped any table and 15 days also gone, and the retention period was just a 15 days, and after that retention period is also over, then how can you recover that data? Okay, if the retention period is just 15 days of that schema. Okay, so there is a one more method available to us in the Snowflake. Snowflake provides us one fail safe. Okay, so fail safe is a method which is immediately after the time travel retention period ends. Okay, so whenever your retention period time is ending, after that there will be a 7-day fail safe method will be available by the Snowflake. You can still query your data by this failsafe. Okay, so failsafe provides a non-configurable 7-day period during which historical data can be recovered by the Snowflake. Okay, so suppose that your time retention period is end, so you can use this feature of failsafe and you can contact to the Snowflake support. Then they can recover your data within the 7 days after your retention period ends. Okay, so this period starts immediately after the time travel retention period ends. Okay, so this is all about the time travel retention and failsafe. Okay, let me summarize quickly fast. Okay, so time travel is a feature by which we can query our historical data that has been changed or deleted of any database. We can query our database schema, tables and streams and all these things we can query by doing the time travel. Okay, and how to specify the time travel on any database schema by we can specify time travel to any database schema by just giving the retention period. Okay, so retention period is just a time, just a number of days for which the data of that table or database can be recovered. Okay, so we are just specifying the retention period to that table, that suppose that my table if there is any change or something like that in that table, then with this period of time we can recover that data. Okay, and there is a one more extra method of doing the time travel is provided by the Snowflake, that is a fail safe. Okay, suppose that you have created one database and you have specified the 30 days of retention period to that database. Okay, and suppose that you have dropped any table in that database and you want that table. Okay, so the retention period of 30 days is also over. You remembered after 30 days that my retention period is also over and I want that data which is before 30 days, and because your retention period is also over. Okay, so by this fail safe method you can still recover your data. If your retention period is also over, then it's okay. By this fail safe method you can recover your data, but for this fail safe method you have to contact to the Snowflake support and then Snowflake team will just verify your account and all these things, then they will recover your data. Okay, this 7 days fail safe period is available to the Snowflake only. Okay, you cannot recover the data of the fail safe by your own. Okay, so this is all about the retention period, fail safe and time travel. Okay, and the fail safe period starts immediately when your retention period will over. Okay, so suppose that your retention period is of just 30 days, then after the 31st day your fail safe method will start, 31, 32, 33 like that. Okay, so this is about the fail safe. Okay, so now let me tell you some of the time travel syntax, that how can you specify the time travel. Okay, so this is a time travel syntax by which you can see your historical data, select and that which table you select what thing you want to do the time travel and from where, from table. And here these are some of the terms, timestamp. Suppose that you want to query the data from any particular timestamp, then you can use this timestamp and you can specify the timestamp here. Okay, and suppose that you want to see that, suppose that you have changed any data before 10 minutes, so you can give here the time difference. Okay, here you have to give the time in 60, so you have to use minus 60 into 2 minutes, minus 60 into 3 minutes, minus 60 into 4 minutes. Okay, like that you have to specify. Okay, and this is for stream. Suppose that you have created any stream. I think I haven't created any session on this stream. Okay, so we will discuss about the stream in upcoming videos. Okay, so this is the stream, that how can you recover the data of the stream. And this is for before statement. Suppose you have done any changes in another table and you want the data of the previous table, so you can use this before statement and you have to specify here the query ID. Okay, so by this way you can do the time travel. Okay, so this is a time travel syntax. So let me tell you some of the time travel options, this timestamp, offset and all this. Okay, so basically this is a timestamp. Timestamp, it specifies an exact date and time to use for time travel. Okay, so that value must be explicitly casting to the timestamp. Okay, we will discuss these options in practical, then you will better understand those things. Okay, so this is how we can specify that. Suppose that you want to recover any data for the particular timestamp. Suppose that suppose that at this time the time is 9:20. Okay, and you want recover the data of that 8:20, so you can just give the time 8:20 there, then you will get that data, what the data will be at that time. Okay, 8:20. Okay, and offset is for just specifying the time difference. Suppose that at this time the time is 9:21 and you want the data from the 9:15. Okay, 9:15, so you can just give here minus 60 into 9:15 means you have to give in the minutes, minus 60 into 7 minutes. Okay, 7, 6 or 5. Okay, like that. Okay, and before statement you have to specify any query id here. Okay, before that statement you can get the data, and before this stream. Okay, stream we are creating on the table now, so that's why existing on the query table. Okay, so this is about the stream. Maybe you will not understand about the stream because you haven't learned about the stream. Okay, we will discuss those things. Okay, we will discuss all these options in the practical, then you will better understand. Okay, and let me tell you, for the standard edition, the standard retention period for standard edition means, as I am using the free trial of the Snowflake. Okay, so this is just for 30 days, and the retention period by default for the Snowflake free trial version is just a 1 day. So you can just specify the retention period for a 1 day in the free trial edition of standard of Snowflake. Okay, and for the enterprise edition you can choose any of the retention period, that is of from 0 to 90 days, anytime you can set. Okay, for the enterprise edition we have option, we can set up to 0 to 90 days. Okay, and for the free edition we have just 1 day. Okay, and enabling the time travel, for enabling you can specify data retention period 10 days, 20 days, 1 day, 20 days, like that. Okay, and suppose that you want to disable, then as disabling is not possible, but you can disable the time travel by just specifying the data retention time in days equals to 0. Whenever you will give the data retention time in days is 0, then the time travel will be disabled. Okay, and you can enable time travel by giving this parameter in your table creation. Okay, and for standard free trial edition retention period is just 1 day, as I have told you this thing. Okay, so this is all about the some of the concepts of the time travel, as we have discussed how to enable, disable, and what is the retention period of free trial is 1 day, and for the enterprise edition we can set up upon 0 to 90 days. Okay, and this is all about the fail safe, retention period, and time travel. Okay, so that's all about the concept, and now let me do the practicals, then you will better understand all those things. Okay, in practical way. Okay, so first of all, let me tell you that how can you set the time travel in your table or schema in your database. Okay, so we will set the time travel. First of all, we will set the time travel in the table. After that, we will set the time travel at the schema. After that, we will set the time travel into the database as well. Okay, so now let me tell you how to set the time travel to the table. Okay, setting time travel to a table. Okay, to a table. Okay, so for table you have to just give their basic syntax for creating a table. Create or replace table, and let me give the time travel table name is time travel example. Okay, this is a time travel table name, and let me specify some columns. ID will be number, and name will be string. Okay, so I'm just specifying these two columns for just testing purpose. Okay, that how can we specify the time travel. Okay, and for this is the basic syntax of creating a table. Okay, and suppose that you want to specify the retention period of this table. Okay, so for that you have to just specify this property, data retention, as I have told earlier. Okay, this data retention time in days. Okay, you have to just specify this data retention time in days, and after that suppose that I want retention period of 1 day, so you can give here value 1, and suppose that you want 10 days, you can give 10. Okay, like that you can give the values. Okay, so as in our Snowflake free trial account, as I am using the free trial version, so here there is one restriction, that we cannot set the data retention time in days just before about 1. Okay, there is only one we can set data retention time. Okay, so let me prove you that thing. Okay, so suppose that I am just setting data retention time in days, so it will not set this time. Okay, because we are using the free trial as addition. Okay, so you can see here it shows the error exceeds maximum allowable retention time 1. Okay, so we have just 1 day retention period provided by the Snowflake in the free trial edition. Okay, so we will just give here 1. Okay, and now let me execute this. Okay, so now you can see table time travel example is successfully created, and the time and the data retention period time in days is set to 1 of this table. Okay, let me show you the table. So you can see time travel example is now successfully created. Okay, okay, time travel, this is the time travel. Okay, these are two tables of time travel. Okay, time travel example. Okay, let me drop one table. Okay, drop table, let me drop earlier table. Okay, earlier table name was time travel example. Okay, let me drop this table. Okay, then you will understand. Okay, so you can see I have dropped table, and let me create this again. Okay, so you can see my table is now successfully created, and now we will see here one table only, time travel example. Okay, which is having 0 rows. Okay, so by this way we can set a time travel to the any table. Okay, and let me tell you how to set the time travel to the schema. Setting a time travel to schema. Okay, schema, schema. Okay, for schema you have to just give this create or replace schema, and after schema you have to give the schema name. Let me give this as a time travel ex schema. Okay, time travel ex. Okay, time travel ex, this is my schema name, and we have to just specify the time travel, this retention period here as well. So let me copy this retention period and let me paste here. Okay, because we are using the standard retention, so we have limitation of 1 day only. We can specify the retention period for 1 day only. Okay, so we are just giving here 1 day only, so it will create a schema which is having retention period of 1 day. Okay, so let me show you that schema as well. Okay, so we have this schema time travel example. You can see the time 9:27, and this is a schema which I have given the retention period 1 day. Okay, this is how you can set the time travel to the schema. Okay, and suppose that if you want to set the time schema, set the time travel for database, so you can give by this way, create or replace database, and let me give the database name is time travel example, and let me perform this property and let me execute this. So by this way you can specify the time travel for database as well. Okay, so you will see here we got this database time travel example. Okay, and the retention period is just 1 day here as well. Okay, so you have seen that how can we specify the time travel retention period. Okay, you have to just specify this property, time travel time in days. Rest syntax is just same as we are doing earlier, creating or replace schema, create or replace table, create or replace database. Okay, so that's all about that, how can we set the data retention time in days to any table, schema or the database. Okay, and suppose that you have given here data retention time at 1 day. Okay, and suppose that you haven't given any retention period here. Okay, and suppose that you want to alter this data retention time in days property. Okay, you want to alter this. Okay, so how can you alter this? Okay, so let me that thing as well. Okay, suppose that you forgot to give a retention period for any table, and after that you thought that I want to update this retention period in that table. Okay, so how can you update that thing? Okay, altering. Okay, let me correct the spelling. Okay, altering retention period on table. I will tell you for table, and you can do for that schema and database by your own. Okay, so let me give you alter table, and table name is time travel example. Okay, time travel alter table time travel example, and we just give set, and we will just copy this data retention time in days. Just suppose that earlier we have set for 1 day, and suppose that let me tell you that thing for enterprise edition as well. Okay, suppose that on creation of table we have just given the data retention time is days, is just 10 days. Okay, and after 5-6 days we thought that retention period of this table must be for 20 days, 20 days or 30 days. Let me take for 20 days. Okay, after you thought of after you thought that you want the retention period of this table to be 20 days and you want to increase 10 days retention period. Okay, so you can just alter that table by giving this alter table and table name. After that you can set the data retention period to just 20 days. Earlier it was 10 days, and you thought after 5 days that you want to increase the retention period. Your table, this table must be the retention period of 20 days. Okay, so you can alter by this way. Okay, but whenever we will execute this, but it will not execute in this our free trial edition, because in free trial edition we have just 1 day retention period. Okay, so whenever we will execute, then you will see here it is saying, okay, it is saying okay, let me select here this database as well. Okay, it is by default selected time travel database because we have created the database. Okay, so let me select this. Now we will execute this. Okay, so now it has shown that exceeds maximum allowable retention time 1. Okay, so it is telling that you are using the standard free trial edition and you cannot specify the retention period to the 20 days. Okay, but the syntax and all these things is okay, and if you will specify this thing in the enterprise edition, then these things will work. Okay, so this is how you can alter the retention period after creation of the table. Okay, and suppose that you forgot to set the retention period for this table. Okay, so you can set the retention period of this table by this method. Okay, and you can specify any of the days here. Okay, because we are using the free edition, so let me select this one only, because we can't set above 1 day in the free trial edition. Okay, so this is how we can alter the time travel, alter the retention period. Okay, and now let me tell you this thing, that how can you check in on any table. Let me tell you that how can you check on any table, database or schema, that if there is any retention period for that table, how many days the retention period of that table, database or schema is. Okay, so you can check as well. Okay, so let me give this a listing retention period. Okay, a retention period. Okay, for listing a retention period, okay, you have to just give here show that table, or you can just describe that table as well. Okay, by all the methods you can get. Okay, so tables like we are just getting this table. Okay, so tables like, so it will so describe all this table. Okay, and you will see here retention period column. Okay, this is a retention period, retention time. Okay, you can see here retention time is just 1 day for this table. Okay, and suppose that you want to check the retention period for any schema, so you can change here. So schema, so schemas like time travel example. Okay, yeah, this one, time travel example. So let me execute this, and now it will show the retention period for this schema as well. Okay, you can see here retention time is 1 day for this table, this schema, time travel example. And suppose that you want to check for database, so you can give here data, so databases, and let me close this, and this databases, like my database name is the same. Let me execute this, and by this way you can check the retention period of the database. Okay, so the syntax is same. Otherwise you can just describe your table, database schema, then also you will be able to see this retention time. Okay, by this way you can check the retention period of any table, database or schema. So we have learned that how can we set the time travel, and how can you alter the time travel, and how can you alter this data retention time, and how can you see the retention period of any table, database and schema. Okay, so that's all we have learned. Okay, so now what we will learn, we will just learn these things which I have told you. First is offset. Okay, and second, what we have learned, second we have learned at a particular time stamp. And third, what we have learned, third we have learned before any statement, means before query id we will discuss all these three things, okay, in this video. Offset timestamp before any particular means id, okay, and after that we will discuss that how can we restore those tables of those history data, okay. We will discuss all those things in example, okay. So guys, for examples of offset timestamp and before id, I think that you have to watch my another video. We will do these things in some other video, because if we are going to do these things in this same video, then it will take a lot of time and video will be longer, okay. So please watch my another video which will be come after this video. The link will be given in the description box and you can visit to that video. And on that video we will discuss about the examples how to use this timestamp offset before id, and we will recover the databases, recover the tables data, and recover the schemas as well. In that video we will discuss all those things in the practical way in the example, okay. So that's it for today's session. Meet you soon in the next very interesting tutorial.